Welcome to Seeking Numina, the Sacred Places podcast. I'm your host, Elise Wells, and today I'm answering a listener question with an entire episode because it was such a great question.
Welcome to Seeking Numina. I'm your host, Elise Wells, and I invite you to connect with the sacred wild within and around you through Numina, or sacred sites around the world, and the wisdom they hold. Together, let's remember the old ways, build relationships with land spirits, and dare to reach out to the fairies. The sacred wild is inviting you to dance in the moonlight. Will you answer their call?
So, Natasha wrote in asking, my family is nomadic. We travel full-time in an RV. We move every week and sometimes more frequently than that. What are your thoughts on trying to connect with land spirits while traveling? So, this is such a great episode. I was nomadic for many years. Even when I was living in Greece full time, I'm still nomadic now, and who am I kidding? So even when I was living in Greece full time, I was still traveling between places within Greece. I rented furnished locations. I never had my own space there. And I write about this in Sacred Wild, an invitation to connect with spirits of the land. But it also is something to remember in general that we do not have to own land to work with land. We don't even have to live on the land to call it the land we live on. So, for example, when I lived in Baltimore, I would go to the nearby cemetery. When I'm in Havre Grace in Maryland, I go to the river. I don't own Mama Susquehanna. Nobody does. But I can commune with her. I can connect with her, and she is my land. But she's not always my land. I travel a lot. I usually am in like a minimum of 3 countries a year, between the US, Greece, and England. I go to England every September, as I shared in my episode with Rachel Patterson on Sulis, and Bath, the city of Bath in Somerset in England. It is my favorite place, one of my favorite places in the entire world. I go there every year. And I usually go to Malta every year as well. I usually go to lots of new places as well. My goal is to always go to a new country every single year when I'm able to. Bearing all that in mind, how do you connect to land when you're traveling, when you're nomadic, when you're not necessarily working with the same land spirits every day? How can you have a rich land spirits practice anyway? The good news is you definitely can. Being nomadic gives you the opportunity to recognize the way land is both different and same. So something that I like to do when I go to a new location, whether it's for the night or for the week or for the month or for the year, is introduce myself. It sounds so obvious, but the most powerful practices we do are often the simple ones. So I will make a drink for myself, make an offering for the land, usually an unsweetened tea, or honestly, if I'm traveling, it might just be water. That is okay. That is more than okay. Land loves water 9 times out of 10, more like 9.999 times out of 10. So I will take that water, take that tea. I also like to use oats. They're really good for birds. They're really unharmful to land. So if I have oats with me, I'll also bring oats. And I give that offering as I walk around, introducing myself to the land, literally just walking around, telling them who I am, talking about my practice, talking about why I'm there, talking about any of the lessons or callings that brought me to that place. You'll notice as you do that practice, the land listening to you. You'll hear the birds kind of respond. You'll feel the wind start to engage with you. It's like the land doesn't, it's like it can see all of us. It can connect with all of us all the time. But when we try to connect back, it's like a capital S C. Like it really can see us. As I'm walking around that land, explaining who I am, why I'm here, giving my offerings. I mean, I kind of do this like in different ritual practices. You might say you have to give the offering at the beginning, you have to give the offering at the end, you have to give the offering when you make the request, or I do it as I'm going. It's almost like feeding birds. Like if you've ever fed chickens or birds, you kind of spread it out on the ground as you go. That's kind of what I do. I kind of intuitively move through the land and share my offering of whether that's water or oats or if you're at a new sacred place and you didn't prepare at all, you didn't even know. Maybe you thought you were just meeting your friend for dinner, but it turns out that the land there is really receptive. And, I also will offer some of my hair. as well. But a word of caution on that is if you're offering hair, you might not want to offer it. It's a very personal thing. So you might not want to offer it to all land. So if you're not really connecting with the place, don't feel obligated to leave hair. So walking around the land, talking about it, telling what I'm up to. And then at the end, I ask, what would you like from me? Or sometimes the question becomes, how can I most honor your energy here? But it's the same idea. It's really how can I begin a relationship of sacred reciprocity with you? That's essentially the core of that ask. And quite often the land will direct me to a certain place on that land to then meditate or sing or drum or all of the above. And sometimes it'll direct me to something I can fix. So sometimes it's really simple. Like one time I was at a riverside and there was a stick like blocking the flow of the creek, like a bigger, like I guess log really. Um, and it kind of like directed me over there, and I just like knocked the log out of the way, and there was a bunch of trash it was blocking. And so the trash and everything just like started to flow. So I picked up all that trash, took it to the trash can, which that was the annoying thing is like there was a trash can like 30 feet away. Like why is it in the water, you know? So I did that, and that was what it wanted. So, like sometimes the land will literally give you a task like that. It might also be to, you know, those like rock towers people build when they're hiking. I never thought they were anything but a thing people did, but they actually really harm local ecosystems. Salamanders need low and small rocks in order to move through the water. And by taking them and piling them, it actually disrupts their migration patterns, and they are a highly endangered species. All salamanders, they're so primordial, they are just truly not equipped for the chemicals in our modern human life. So they're a very powerful emissary of the land, the salamanders. But I digress. Take down those towers if you see them. I know it feels like rude, but like just put them back on the ground. Like let those rocks go back where they came from, because salamanders use them. Like I thought like, oh, what are the odds? It's just a little rock tower, but it look into it yourself and you'll find it is actually very disruptive to natural landscapes and the creatures that rely on them to stay natural. So the land will show you what it needs, and that is how we engage with reciprocity. It's not just giving what we think it needs. Like the first offering of water and oats is honestly just like it's benign at worst, and at best it helps the land a little bit. It really is a gesture more than an actual energy exchange. So to begin that true relationship, the land's gonna need you to do something else. Sometimes that literally just means communing with it, singing to it, playing your drum, talking with it more, existing, like meditating, being in the energy of the land. You might even be able to heal some of the energy of the land as you engage with it. Once you've kind of broken the ice with the offering and the conversation of introduction, you have a much more open conversation awaiting you. So that's when I will drop into meditation at a sacred site or begin singing if I'm able to, or begin drumming. And the land will sometimes, as you connect there, as you use your energy to reach down beneath the egregore of any human activity at that place, and you really get down and down and down, and you're in the earth, and you're able to connect to that raw land spirit. That's where you might be able to even do some healing for the land. You can send your heart's love and energy down to the earth while simultaneously pulling up the grounding energy that earth offers us in order to create a cycle of connection to the land. That energy practice, it's a practice. It's something that might feel difficult or strange the first time you do it, but as you begin to commune with land more openly, because truly it's a vulnerability that you have when you connect to any energy like that. If you're an energy healer, you know that it's a vulnerability to feel another's energy. So the land is an opportunity to feel that energy. We use land all the time to ground and center, but how often do we ground and center the earth in return? And so that is really my biggest recommendation is if you're nomadic, what I described here, that can take you 5 seconds. Okay, maybe not 5 minutes, where you go outside, you take your offering, you walk around. Hey, I'm Elise. I'm here to commune with the land. I'd love to learn more about the sacredness of, you know what I mean, whatever it is, and talk about why you're there, who you are. Hey, I'm here with the kids, and sit down meditate where you're guided to be. Pick up trash as you get to that place, sit down, you know, say hello. And then that meditation maybe is just another 5 minutes, another 10 minutes. So this doesn't have to be a big, huge ritual. Notice I didn't, suggest any spell ingredients. Like it doesn't have to be a whole big thing. It really, really, land is simple. Connection to land is simple, but it takes time to feel and to know that it's right and to know that it's landing. So be patient, open your heart, your ears, your mind to the lessons that it has for you, and it will show them to you. So, what do you do when you leave a place and you're heading to a new one? There's a few different things you can do. Again, tell the land you're leaving. Thank it for what it gave you, for the opportunities and the experiences it bestowed upon you. And you guessed it, leave another offering. Pick up all the trash, leave no trays, of course, for yourselves as you leave, but also look around to see if there's any more litter you can pick up, or if it was a particularly powerful experience, you might even want to look up ways to donate to the native peoples of that land, or to donate to a conservation effort that works with that river, or wherever it is, whatever it is. Really let yourself connect to it and recognize its needs as you leave that place. Don't like, we never want to be transactional with land. We never want to go just to get what we need to get and then leave. So keeping that in mind, looking at how you can continue that relationship somehow. And that's the bigger places. That's the places where it's like, wow, this changed my life. Oh my goodness, what an experience. I can't believe I had that meditative. You know what I mean? Those types of bigger, like that's where you might say, okay, I'm going to actually find a way to donate this or to, and it doesn't have to be money. A lot of times it's our time that they need. So maybe you have a chance to volunteer for 2 hours to go pick up trash from the river's edge, or whatever it is that you can do, looking for ways to offer service to the land. Also, when you leave, if a place very much connected with you, you can create a sister city bond. This is outlined strongly in Sacred Wild in my book, but it also is something I can share with you here. So you take some of your hair and you bury it in the ground there, and you take some of that dirt with you on your travels. And when you get home, if you have a home, if you don't have a home, you just keep it with you, keep it in your altar. If you have a home, you can actually put some of that dirt into your land or leave it on your altar. You can even embed it if you have a land spirit's altar at home. You can put that dirt in a bowl with dirt from your home and create a bond between your land and that land that way. And if you don't have hair, if you're like, oh, what else can I leave? You can leave some saliva. If you're crying, you can rub some of those tears on a stone or on the ground. Our waters are such a sacred gift. They are so pure. They are purely us. Our hair and our waters, they are purely, purely us. And so talk about vulnerability. That is sometimes the greatest offering of connection we can give land, is a little bit of us. So leaving that behind, knowing that it changed you and you'll be carrying its lessons with you, leaving it behind for the land as well is a great way to do that. Another way to connect to land, if you're nomadic, is to have a travel altar that you set up when you visit a new place. So for me, I have, and I wanted to find it, but I'm actually in between homes right now. So I don't think I have it with me. But I have a travel altar of sorts that I call it a travel altar, but it really is a witch's ladder. So it's a string, and on that string, you tie meaningful things. So for me, in my practice, I like to regard every element, and I also like to hold space for my ancestors. I like to hold space for a few different goddesses, and I also have a coven. So I on my witch's ladder, I have something for each element. I actually have a clear quartz on there to represent earth, but it also cleanses the whole thing. It keeps it vibrating at the right frequencies. And then I also have a little charm I was given in my initiation by my coven. And then I have a bead that's actually a scarab beetle, and it has lapis lazuli, jasper, and turquoise in it. And it was given to me by my parents, and it's from Egypt, where my family is from. My family's Greek Egyptian. So that reminds me to stay connected to my ancestors. And then I also have, for the goddess, I have a key. I have a key for Hecate, and that key also to me represents the mysteries of goddess work and how she speaks to us through many faces and many gods and goddesses. So that's actually the bottom of it, and the quartz is the top. So it's really like I'm grounded by goddess and earth. And so that's what I do is I hold it and I kind of like a rosary, I kind of just move to each item and I just give gratitude and thanks to connect with each element, to connect with my coven, to connect with my ancestors, to connect with my goddesses. I work primarily with Inanna and Aphrodite as two faces of the same goddess. And I also work with Hecate a little bit. She's like my grandmother, I always say, because my high priestess is a priestess of Hecate. And so in my initiation, she was very present. So she's always there. She's like both ancestor and goddess for me. And I also work with Hephaestus, but he does not have physical offerings he particularly likes. He actually likes offerings of creativity. So that's how my practice with him works. He's not really represented on my witch's ladder, on my travel altar. So that altar could also be a box that has a representation of each of those things. Maybe, now this is fun. Maybe you create a new altar every time you go somewhere new. Or maybe you create a new altar every moon cycle. If you're truly nomadic and you're somewhere new every week, you might want to create an altar for every moon cycle that allows you to connect with that cycle, but also the places you're going during that moon cycle. So maybe you collect your items for air when you visit an eagle's nest. And then later you're at a riverside, so you collect some stones to represent water, or you collect some literal water. Maybe you have these cute little jars. They sell them at the Dollar Tree. These wonderful little glass jars that allow you to collect water from multiple places. And then you can label them with Sharpie, and you have this collection of sacred waters to connect to and to remind yourself of the lessons learned at that sacred place. So altars are sacred space. So building a mobile altar is just taking your sacred space with you wherever you go. And so it allows you to create stasis and stability, even though it's in flux at all times. So it creates sacred space for you to then be able to connect to the sacred more easily, more efficiently. So these are just a few ideas. There's definitely other ways that you can connect to land as a nomad. If there's a place that particularly means a lot to you, I do recommend the sister city bond with your hair as you're leaving, like build that connection. And the last way I want to share with you to connect to sacred places, even as a nomad, is astral travel. So if you're moving along between places, if you're like me and you often have one foot in one country, one foot in another, or maybe you go between houses for one reason or another, or what you can do is if you're missing that other place, or if there's lessons that you learned at that other place and you want to reconnect to them, you can astrally travel back to that place. Here's how I do that. Laying down in your bed. This is the way I do it. You can do it from a chair as well. Remember, and you have to kind of like know the place that you're traveling to pretty well. If you don't, you have to have a pretty good guide who does, who creates this for you. So so you could actually just through your own research of a place, you could do more research to know, like, okay, is it north facing? You can Google this stuff, you can find it online. What's the weather like today? Like really trying to like mentally immerse yourself in it before you do this activity. So astrally traveling, I would travel between my homes when I was in high school. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but when I was in high school, I would move between Bahrain in the Middle East and the US. And I really didn't like living in the Middle East. I've shared in past episodes kind of the spiritual deadness of the Middle East, particularly Bahrain. And so I would lay in my bed and I would astrally travel back to my childhood home in Pennsylvania. So to do that, to travel between places, you lay down in bed, eyes closed, and begin remembering what it feels like to be in bed in that other place. What's on your side table? What's the texture of that side table? What does it smell like? How does it smell different from the room you're in now? What's the temperature? Are your toes cold because it's winter there? Is it overcast, even though it's sunny in the room your physical body's in? And you start to build the world through all senses. And as you do so, you can actually use your physical hand and release to the land, to the space you're in. Put your hand out and touch the side table at the place you're traveling to. And that's how I would do it. I would literally be like, okay, there's my wooden side table. It has a glass cover on it. My lamp is ceramic. Like I would just let my hand feel like it's feeling those things. And it would remember that. And then I would be there and I would be able to, in meditation, get out of that bed and walk downstairs and go outside and sit with my trees. So I highly recommend trying that if you're really connected to a space and then you have to come back later. It's you want to come back later, but you physically can. I think it's an extremely underrated practice outside of the witchcraft world, but astral travel, spending time in the fifth dimension where we are no longer held by our bodies, but we can truly transcend them and just be spirit. It's deeply, deeply important. It's deeply important, and it's something that I would say is probably one of my main tools in my arsenal as a spiritual practitioner. And even though as an earth priestess, it's all about working with the land, the best way to feel the presence of the physical is to acknowledge its power in the metaphysical. Just like we can benefit from working with land in person, we can benefit from working with land on the astral. I think the last thing I would leave you with is as you are connecting with land and you're looking for ways to do that, as a nomad, as somebody who moves between places, recognize the sacredness in what you are doing. You are a liminal being. We are liminal beings. When we live between places, when we walk between the physical worlds, we are blessed with the knowledge of change in ways that others are not. It sounds so beautiful to be so deeply connected to land. Like I think of the hobbits in the Shire, right? In the Lord of the Rings, in Tolkien's universe of Middle Earth. The hobbits are so deeply connected to land that they don't leave. They don't leave so much that other people don't even know who they are. The world of men, no clue who they are. The elves, vague recollection. The Ents don't even have them in their great stories of time because they don't leave. They are so embedded in the land. And while they live a beautiful life, for those who have read the books, and maybe if you watch the movies with a keen eye, you'll notice that the hobbits are limited by that. Their world is literally small, and they are not very spiritually in tune. Despite being so deeply connected to the land, they're competitive with each other, they're nosy, they're nitpicky, and they actually they get so concerned with earthly material world things that people who live 20 feet away from each other have lifelong rivalries and things like that. And we see that mirrored in community as well in the West, particularly in the United States, where so many people don't travel ever in their lives. I have friends who live 25 minutes from the Maryland border and have never been to Maryland. So that mentality of staying put and having one land to work with, it's kind of a fallacy. It sounds beautiful. I dream of it myself, of having land that I can see through every season and never miss a minute of those flowers blooming and those leaves falling. But I've learned that at least for me, that's probably not my path in this life. And for many of you watching this, that's probably not your path either. And that's okay. I think our land spirits practice is all the richer for that. Oh, I just got goosebumps coming up my leg. So never feel like your practice has to be limited because you travel or that there's a part of your practice that's going to be missing because you travel. It's going to be richer because the more we understand what land feels like, the Middle East is, you don't have to travel there to know the Middle East is different from England, right? The land is going to feel different. But how shocking is it to feel that the Susquehanna River has a similar resonance to rivers in Greece? So sometimes it's the experience of multiple lands that we learn what land can even feel like. We expand our view of how land can interact with us. And it's so beautiful. It's so enriching. So I hope this has inspired you to deepen your practice with land, even as a nomad. And if you have other questions about land spirits work, please send them in. My email is elise@seekingnumina.com. You can also contact me through my website, seekingnumina.com. I would love to have you in future containers. My next container begins June 17th. It is Sacred Wild Priestess, an advanced container, a 12-week immersive, taking you on a journey of experiencing the work of the Earth Priestess arts through the frame drum, embodiment practices, trance work journeys, and so much more. I'm so excited to share that with you. So if that's calling to you, seekingnumina.com/sacredwildpriestess. It is all there, and I would love to welcome you to that sacred space. Thank you very much for listening. This is Seeking Numina, the Sacred Places podcast. I have been your host, Elise Wells. Bright blessings.
Thank you for seeking Numina with me today. Join me at patreon.com/Elise Wells to support this show and get access to a library of rituals, exclusive videos, meditations, and more. To learn more about my upcoming retreats, book a tarot reading, or learn with me in workshops, classes, or mentorship, visit seekingnumina.com.